Hey everybody, how's it going? Travel Man Dan here, and welcome to this week's episode of Reading Man Dan. Ooh, today's gonna be awesome, because I'm bringing out a very fun holiday classic. That's right, today I'm gonna be reading to you from Charles M. Schultz. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Whoa! Alright, love this book. Get ready for a fun episode. Sit back, relax, and let's go. Hey everybody, thanks again for joining me. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring the bell so that you're notified when new episodes come out every week on this channel. Let's get started. Wow, today's such a fun time, brings back so many fond memories of growing up, whether it be the book or the cartoon. The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown is one of the classic stories from Charles M. Schultz, and I'm so excited to bring this one to you. Without further ado, let's get into it. Such a great cover. Check that out, right? 50 years. Look at that cover. We got Snoopy hanging out, and on top of Snoopy is Woodstock, just chilling on the jack-o'-lantern. Well, I'm excited to go ahead and read this book to you. Here we go. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown by Charles M. Schultz. Illustrated by Scott Gerolds. Every fall, the leaves on the tree turn brown and fall off the branches. Pumpkins grow big and plump in their patches. The air grows cooler, and people start to think about their Halloween costumes. And every fall, Linus writes a very important letter. Look at Linus. He is into it, man. He is just got his tongue hanging out like Michael Jordan. He's writing that important letter. Charlie Brown is peering in, seeing what he's writing. Let's find out. Dear Great Pumpkin, Linus writes, I'm looking forward to your arrival on Halloween night. I hope you will bring me lots of presents. Who are you writing to? Asks Charlie Brown. The Great Pumpkin, says Linus. On Halloween night, the Great Pumpkin rises out of his pumpkin patch and flies through the air with his bag of toys for all the children. What? Check out Linus. He's writing away. He's got this, well, a notion that the Great Pumpkin comes out of nowhere on Halloween night, flies into the pumpkin patch with a bag full of toys. Sounds oddly familiar. Let's find out what happens. Linus's sister, Lucy, isn't happy that Linus is writing to the Great Pumpkin. You'll make me the laughing stock of the neighborhood, she complains. But Charlie Brown's sister, Sally, doesn't think Linus is crazy. She thinks Linus is wonderful. He is her sweet baboo. Wouldn't you like to sit with me in the pumpkin patch on Halloween night and wait for the Great Pumpkin? Linus asks. Sally is thrilled. I'd love to, she tells Linus. Alright, well, first of all, over here we have Lucy, who doesn't want to be the laughing stock of the neighborhood, as her brother is going to sit in some weird pumpkin patch. But then, over here, we have a taker. We have someone that will join Linus, and look, I think they're in love. Later that day, Charlie Brown has a surprise waiting for him in the mailbox. I got an invitation to a Halloween party. Lucy thinks the invitation might be a mistake. There were two lists, she tells Charlie Brown. One to invite, one not to invite. Charlie Brown knows which list he probably was on, but he decides to go to the party anyway. On Halloween night, everyone is planning to go to the party. Except Linus. My blockhead brother will be out in the pumpkin patch making his yearly fool of himself, Lucy grumbles. She can't understand why Linus would choose to miss out on all the fun that Halloween has to offer by sitting around in a pumpkin patch. Wow. Alright, first of all, let's take a look. Charlie Brown is so excited. He's pumped up. He's got an invitation. It might be the wrong invitation, But he doesn't care. He's having a good time. And, well, then we look over here, and you can see Lucy. She is furious at the fact that her brother Linus would rather go sit in a pumpkin patch than, well, join all the fun at the Halloween party. Everyone puts on their costumes. Lucy is dressed as a witch. Charlie Brown is dressed as a ghost. But no one can tell what he is supposed to be because he has some trouble with the scissors. Sally is also dressed as a ghost, and so is Schroeder. They figured out how to use the scissors just fine. Pigpen is dressed as a ghost too. Everyone can tell which ghost he is because a cloud of dust surrounds him. Let's take a look at this. Alright, so we can see Lucy is the witch right here. Can you guess which one is Charlie Brown? He had a little trouble with the scissors. Look at this guy. Alright, he's got a bunch of holes with him. Alright, if we look over here, we could definitely see that this is Pigpen because of the large cloud of dust that follows him. What a dirty little kid. Snoopy walks by, also dressed in a costume. Who in the world is that? Asks Lucy. He's a World War I flying ace, Charlie Brown explains. Now I've seen everything, Lucy says. Look at Snoopy. Just strutting in, okay? He's all about that. He's just, look at me. He is very confident. He is very sturdy in his walk. And he is a World War I fighting ace. And he walks in, and Lucy is shocked. Lucy declares that everyone will go trick-or-treating first, and then go to the Halloween party. As they pass by the pumpkin patch, Linus sees them and gets excited, thinking they have come to wait with him. Have you come to sing pumpkin carols with me? He says. Pumpkin carols? You blockhead, Lucy yells at her brother. You're going to miss all the fun, just like last year. Okay, so, well, you can see Linus is pumped up. He's hanging out in the pumpkin patch. Everyone's walking by. He thinks they're going to join him and sing pumpkin carols. But no, Lucy lets him know that, you blockhead, what are you doing out here? Again? This silly great pumpkin. Don't talk like that, Linus cries. The great pumpkin will come because I am in the most sincere pumpkin patch. Oh, good grief, Lucy exclaims. She marches off with her friends. It looks like no one wants to join Linus in the pumpkin patch to wait for the great pumpkin. Except, what about Sally? Sally's on the fence. Look at this. Okay, so we see Lucy walking out with her group of friends and all the trick-or-treaters. Linus is back here chilling alone in the pumpkin patch. What is Sally going to do? Is she going to join her love? Is she going to join her little sweetheart, Linus? Let's find out. Sally is torn. She doesn't want to miss out on all the fun of trick-or-treating and a party. But Linus is her sweet baboo. Alright, what should she do? Sally runs back to the pumpkin patch. What a sweet little Sally, right? She can't be without her sweet baboo. She has to go and be there with Linus and give him the comfort and be there to see all the glory when the great pumpkin shows up. I'm glad you came back, Linus tells her. You'll see the great pumpkin with your own eyes. Linus is positive the great pumpkin will pick this patch. Why wouldn't he? The great pumpkin chooses the most sincere patch to visit every year. And how could a pumpkin patch be more sincere than this one? Sally hopes Linus is right. Alright, well, Linus is definitely optimistic. He is staying positive and being confident that that great pumpkin will show up. But look at Sally. She's, well, she's not too sure of the optimism that the great pumpkin will show up. Let's find out what happens. Meanwhile, the rest of the kids go trick-or-treating. Tricks or treat, money or eats, they yell at the first door. Everyone compares what they got. I got 5 pieces of candy, exclaims Lucy. "I got a chocolate bar," exclaims Patty. "I got a quarter," says Violet happily. "I got a rock," says Charlie Brown sadly. And that happens at every door. All the other kids get wonderful treats like candy, gum, and popcorn balls. And Charlie Brown gets rocks. Oh, man. All right, let's take a look. So, Lucy gets a bunch of candy. Patty gets a chocolate bar. And Violet gets a quarter in money. But poor Charlie Brown, look at him. He gets a rock. And it happens at all the doors. Every time he goes trick-or-treating, everybody gets all the sweet candies and the gums and the monies and the fun trick-or-treat things. But Charlie Brown gets a rock. Poor guy. Let's see if things brighten up. Lucy decides they have done enough trick-or-treating and it's time to go to the party. Woo, party! After all, everyone has a bag filled to the brim with treats. Everyone except Charlie Brown. He has a bag full of rocks. Check it out, guys. Alright, Lucy's like, "Alright, squad, time to go party it up. Let's all go." Everybody's got so much candy. It's all filled all the way to the top. But poor Charlie Brown has got nothing but a bag full of rocks. On their way to the party, they pass by the pumpkin patch again. The kids laugh at Linus and Sally for waiting there instead of coming to the party. "The great pumpkin will be here," Sally yells, defending Linus. After the kids walk by, Sally turns to Linus. "All right, where is he?" she asks. "He'll be here," Linus assures her. "I hope so," Sally replies. "Think of all the fun we're missing." Uh-oh. This is just too much. Okay, they've been sitting out there in that pumpkin patch. It's probably cold. It's probably windy. It's not very fun. And look, over here we have the whole squad of friends. They got bags full of candy. They're going to a party. They're going to have, a teenage rager. They're just going to have a good old time. Probably going to drink some punch and do a little bit of dancing. And well, poor Sally's starting to really get worried. Where is this great pumpkin? I've been sitting here all night with you in this freezing, cold, smelly pumpkin patch, while all my friends are out trick-or-treating, getting all kinds of candy and gum and fun. Now they're going to a party? Linus, he better show up. And the Halloween party is a lot of fun for everyone except Charlie Brown. At first, Charlie Brown thinks his night is looking up when the other kids ask him to be the model for the jack-o'-lantern. Model? That sounds like a great honor. But then he realizes that being the model means having Violet draw a big pumpkin face on the back of his head. Poor Charlie Brown. Look at this poor guy. Right? Here he is. He thought he was going to be a model. Probably be hanging out with all the girls. And, well, they really just wanted him to model so that they could draw the jack-o'-lantern on the back of his head. Oh, man. Poor Charlie Brown. Meanwhile, in the pumpkin patch, Sally is growing tired of waiting for the great pumpkin. If anyone had told me I'd be waiting in a pumpkin patch on Halloween night, I'd have said they were crazy, she complains. Just then, she and Linus hear a rumbling noise. They see a shadow emerging from the pumpkin patch. It's the great pumpkin rising up out of the pumpkin patch, Linus yells. He's so excited to see the great pumpkin, he faints. Keep it together, Linus. But it isn't the great pumpkin after all. It is just the World War I flying ace on his way back from an important mission. All that drama. Poor Linus conked himself out, KO'd. But it's actually just Snoopy, who just appears in the pumpkin patch on his way back from an important mission. Linus wakes up and asks Sally what happened. I was robbed. Howls Sally. Halloween is over and I missed it. She stomps out of the pumpkin patch, leaving Linus all alone to wait for the great pumpkin. Linus falls asleep. And later that night, Lucy comes to bring him home and tuck him into his warm bed. Aw, poor Linus. He wakes up from passing out, and his sweet girlfriend, his sweet love, is yelling. She's furious. She waited all night in this pumpkin patch with him, and the great pumpkin never showed up. And, well, Sally storms off, and Linus falls asleep. The next day, Charlie Brown tries to make Linus feel better. Don't take it too hard that the great pumpkin never showed up, he tells his friend. But Linus doesn't feel let down. Just wait until next year, he cries. He tells Charlie Brown, I'll find the most sincere pumpkin patch, and I'll sit in that pumpkin patch until the great pumpkin appears. Wow. Linus is determined. He is ready to go. He tells Charlie Brown, don't worry, that great pumpkin, he will show up next year. I will find him. I'll wait in that pumpkin patch. If it takes another year, I'll have to do it. And that is the end. Wow. What a great story. I absolutely love this book. I love that, well, it just shows how fun Halloween can be with all the different costumes and all the kids dressing up and going door to door, trick-or-treating, asking for candy, gum. Hopefully you won't get any rocks, but just a lot of fun. And then how about that sheer determination, that diligence to hang out in a pumpkin patch from Linus. Okay, he's got it in his mind that this great pumpkin will appear and he will definitely drop him off some presents. And Linus is fixated on the idea that if he waits in the most sincere pumpkin patch, that it'll happen. I like your attitude. I like your positivity, Linus. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe one year that great pumpkin will appear. Well, that's going to do it for us today on this episode of Reading Man Dan. I hope you had a fun and enjoyable time watching this video. As I read you, it's The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown by Charles M. Schultz, one of the classic Peanuts holiday stories. Really fun book. Enjoyed each and every part of it. If you haven't seen the cartoon, it's out there. Should be popping up this holiday season. So make sure that if you go ahead and watch this video, that you're able to compare the book to the cartoon. I'm sure you're going to enjoy them both. If you like what I'm doing and you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right there. Ring the bell. Give me a like. Let me know down in the comments below what you liked about this story. Or if you can suggest another book that I should read here on Travel Man Dan, I'd love to hear from you. Hey, this book was a lot of fun to read, and I hope you were thrilled to watch this episode. I hope you learned something new and interesting, like how not to make your Halloween costume with a pair of scissors, or that if you wait in a pumpkin patch all night for the great pumpkin, he may or may not show up. I hope most of all you were inspired to check this book out for yourself, or maybe watch this video again. But this is one of the great classic American stories around holiday time, and Halloween is so much fun. It's such a, well, good time to get together with your friends, dress up in costumes, go out trick-or-treating, and this book really kind of nails that home. When I see this, I start to feel the holiday seasons again. Thanks again for watching. I'm Travel Man Dan, aka Reading Man Dan, and remember, it's a big world out there. Make sure you see every bit of it. Happy Halloween, everybody.